folks. Welcome in. Seven Rivers Racing and KQEG TV, along with Al OCM, Dan Deicher, coming off another spectacular weekend at the La Crosse Speedway and the Mississippi Thunder Speedway. And I was so enthused when Sunday rolled around, Al, on the attendance at both of those racetracks, and I had to post on Facebook that I could not believe the support those two tracks are getting. I mean, times are still tough, and we've got some tracks that are folding up maybe once a month throughout the nation. Raceway Park up in Minnesota, this is their last year that they're going to be running up there. Right. And the support that continually is seen in this area is just astounding. So I had to put a special post up. Thanks to all the folks that came out Friday night at Mississippi Thunder Speedway for the BMOD Challenge. La Crosse Speedway, we had a fantastic crowd. Right. And I don't even think a lot of it had to do with the fair. It was a great night. The weather was nice.
Oh, it was awesome.
2 20-lap features with the late models. Yep. And, of course, Bill Niles and I ended up destroying an organ in which that was something else. Yes. Jesse's going to throw some video up here. Maybe in the next segment, we're going to show you, well, there's 2 segments that we didn't put into the first segment that you're going to see in the second segment. Right. One of them is who won the Outhouse Holman Portables Outhouse race. Yep. And then we're going to show you the footage of Bill Niles and I with Bill at the wheel of a Kia, me struggling in the back seat, hitting an organ at about 40 miles per hour.
Getting back to the attendance, we were talking before the show started, the guys who are putting on the shows at both tracks doing a great job of promoting, not just before the races, but during the races too. Outhouse races, the prizes that they're giving away at Mississippi Thunder, they're doing a great job of getting fans not only to the facility, but giving them a great show while they're there.
Well, it is, and this is the 5th year Bob Tim has owned the dirt track. He's done a lot of construction. He's put a lot of dirt out there. He's widened the pits and tore a bunch of trees down, and concrete slabs have gone in. And over the past 2 years that I've announced up there with Dan Bailey, things are really starting to come together now for the entire 4-person team that owns that track up there. And things are working, and we're talking the advertising, getting the word out, some of the special nights that we sat down during the winter and put together for fan appreciation, and some of these other big nights going on up there. It's really working, and they've got a great thing that's going on up there, and it's a joy to be up there with Dan Bailey on Friday nights. And we'll give you those highlights here in a couple of minutes. We had 2 fantastic races Friday night. One, when was the last time that you saw, and I wish we had video to go with this, a pass on a restart that took your breath away?
Yeah, I've heard of this. I would love to see this video, but from what I have heard, it was really spectacular. You don't see that too often, and I think you can explain it better as you explained it to me before we started shooting.
Yeah, Dan Bailey and I were almost stunned for 15 seconds of not even knowing what to say. And we're going to get into that here in a little bit. First off, La Crosse Speedway, we did have the duels, the 2 20-lap features on Saturday night. First off, heat races, got to tip our hats off. He's been working at this all year long. Yep. Missed the first, I think, 3 or 4 races. Matt Englert finally came out and got himself a very impressive heat race win. Todd Korish, that name has not been on our headlines here too much this year after winning the championship last year. Yep. Got himself a heat race win as well. Sean Paff was back up this weekend. He got the 6-for-6 dash. And then it came down to the last 2 of the very first feature. We're going to show you 4 laps. And that's going to be 2 features apiece. And, boy, it was still nice and bright outside. The weather was fantastic. And what a great night for a handful of drivers.
Yeah, quite a few drivers actually did really well. I think of everybody who started both races, I think only 1 or 2 cars had to drop out during the course of the entire race.
Well, Jay Herbst was a man on a mission here. I think he started 9th in this race and was just picking people off left and right. He said when they raced the Big 8 Series at the Milwaukee Mile a couple of weeks ago, they found some things out that they can use at La Crosse, and it's been definitely working for him as Jay Herbst is going to cross the line here in a moment and get the win. Todd Korish had the nice feat of holding off Steve Carlson. Mike Carlson took 4th, and Brad Powell rounded out the top 5, and Jay Herbst ended up with a 1st and a 3rd on the night, which if you look at Steve Carlson, a 3rd and a 5th. So you talk about some consistency going on.
It was a very good points night there for Jay. He's going to have to keep that consistency up. Maybe not necessarily go for the wins, but he's got to finish in the top 2 or 3. And Steve's going to have a little bit of trouble here and there. But I think I sent you an email earlier. We're starting to get into that point where you have fatigue on those race cars.
Right.
And that's what has happened to a few drivers already. Cole Howland ended up having a drive shaft come apart on them in practice, and it's just because of the amount of pressures that are exerted on a race car during the course of the season, and metal fatigues just like a human being does. And you saw that in Todd Korish's car here a few weeks ago. He had a problem there with his steering box, and that's just part of fatigue that happens, and you can't really find that at the shop. I know us and other teams look for fatigue at this time of the year, and actually at our shop we found out by putting stress on a ball joint, it broke. And if that would have broken on the racetrack, we would have been done for the season.
Right.
So we quickly replaced that, and we're actually very happy about that. And other teams are starting to do that too because of the fatigue.
Well, you're finding some teams that are making part-time visits to the Speedway very successful this year. The next one would be Mike Kennecke. He's only got, I think, 8 races on his schedule this year, and he came out and just dominated this last feature. Of course, he was also your quick-time qualifier. And once Mike Kennecke pretty much got through the smoke and mirrors, he ran away. Brent Kirshner, a nice job taking second. Jay Herbst third. Adam Degenhardt fourth. And Steve Carlson rounded the top 5. This was actually a lot closer to me than a lot of people had figured, because you put about 5 more laps on the board. Jay Herbst has a possibility of winning 2 straight features back-to-back. As you see, he had a hard time getting around the honey badger, Brent Kirshner. But then right behind him, Degenhardt and Carlson were also chopping at the bit.
Yeah, and those are all cars that are capable easily of winning a feature at any point during the course of the season. But for Jay Herbst to run that well, for both those features, I think I can only remember one time when somebody won both ends of the features. I think Charlie Menard did it about 5 or 6 years ago. Other than that, I can't remember anybody doing that well in both features.
Looking at the point standings, Steve Carlson still has a lead in the lacrosse late models. Only 76 over Jay Herbst, so this could get kind of interesting as we've got a handful of races left with the late models getting all the way down to Oktoberfest. Mike Carlson's third, Brad Powell slipped a notch from third to fourth, and Todd Korish rounds out the top 5. When we come back, it's going to be Sportsman and Thunderstock feature time here on the 7 Rivers Racing Show, KQEG TV.
When you're all out of good ideas and you've moved on to the dumb ones, it's time. American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, a higher standard of comfort.
May I take your order?
Be not defeated by indecision. Choose the path that leads to a better day. Choose the way of the meal.
Make it a meal with one of Cousin Sub's new pork subs, the Memphis steak or the Cubano for a limited time only.
The key to happiness is sharing.
No.
Cousin Subs. Better bread, better subs, better day.
Did you know that the Holman American Legion is open to the public? That's right, 7 days a week you can enjoy the full-service bar while watching your favorite sports team or NASCAR driver. You don't need to be a member to enjoy the Holman American Legion's rotating lunch special every Tuesday for only $6. A banquet hall with seating up to 250 people is also available for weddings, birthdays, or any other special event. See you at the Holman American Legion, 419 First Avenue West in Holman.
Get ready for the Thunder! The Mississippi Thunder Speedway.
Your Friday night racing destination.
Racing starts at 7. Super stocks.
Modified.
600 mods.
Pure stocks.
Street stocks.
Viva.
It's racing excitement, dirt track style.
Tickets $12 for adults.
$5 18 and under.
$8 for students. Or our family pack.
$25 for 2 adults and 3 kids 18 and under.
Friday night racing starts at 7.
Bring on the Thunder!
Dirt track style at the Mississippi Thunder Speedway. Highway 35 just north of Fountain City.
We're back, 7 Rivers Racing, KQEG TV. I'm Dan Dyke along with Al Losey as we continue our trek on through the, well, very nice snow we had this past weekend at the La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway. We left you off at the top of the sportsman class, and a man that, a very familiar name at the La Crosse Speedway, has not had many checkers this year, finally got himself into victory lane, and that will be West Salem's Jimmy Crackhorn Gilster, as you're about to see here. You know, I have to say, and I told Jake Arneson at the gas station after the races were done, Jimmy kind of admitted this. First off, Jimmy said his car was junk throughout the night. He got a tip from Greg Scheck, and it helped him win this race here. But if you watch this battle for second and third, this thing went on between Jamie Dummer and Jake Arneson pretty much the entire race. I think that's one of the big reasons Jimmy Gilster gets this win is because those two kept concentrating on each other and getting that second spot.
And that's exactly, that's a very good point there, Dan. A lot of times, two of the faster cars are going at it with each other, that they're actually slowing each other down, and that does help Gilster quite a bit. And I got to tell you, I really expected Gilster to do a lot more this year. I don't know if he's got other things going on outside of racing that's not allowing him to prepare the car as well, but normally him and his brother kind of dominate the division.
Brian Hesselberg took fourth. Billy Martin, Dr. Noyes, with a feature win 2 weeks ago, ends up with the top 5. Point standings, this one's going to be interesting as well. Jake Arneson still has the lead, but it's been teetering the past couple of weeks. Steve Bachman now has second place, 34 points back. 36 back is Greg Scheck. Then it's Bill Martin and Brian Hesselberg. We're going to talk about the points here in just a couple of minutes. First, we're going to show you the Thunderstock feature from this past weekend. And David Cavan came out. He drove for Dakota Miller in the number 7. And you talk about some good driving ability here. Not only did David Cavan win a heat race, as did J.R. Turtelot, but David Cavan won this feature.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to see some of the guys get into victory lane who haven't been there all that much, and you're starting to see that now on the short track.
Little bump going on right there. I talked to Andy Moore after the races. He says, I'll tell you what, you put 3 or 4 laps back on that board and I win that race. As he was bumper to bumper with Cavan almost the entire time through.
He's pushing them all the way through.
Bad Brad Worthen took 3rd. J.R. Turtelot has 4th, and Jesse Vian took 5th. J.R. Turtelot, to me, has been the most consistent Thunderstock driver over the past 4 or 5 weeks. He's got a couple of features. He's got some heat races. Has a dash win. He's now got the Rookie of the Year point standings, not sewed up, but he's got a hold of it so far. And you got to watch that 35 out of Trempolo. The novelty category, well, Bad Brad Worthen, this is the 6th time, and let's see, 4 out of 5 years now he's won the outhouse race. How he's practicing, I don't want to know, but he's doing a nice job.
Boy, the way you put that, it almost sounds like something out of a movie, you know, the Jackass movies.
Well, he wins that. Novelty points. Brad Worthen leads Jason Bolster by 6. Then it's Adam Moore, Andy Moore, and Burt Young. Also, we're going to show you some video of the Oregon smash that Billy Doc Niles and I did. As I thought we were taking to the big track. I didn't know we were going to take to the small track, and he was throwing me all over the back seat. My leg was stuck out the window, and I did not get style points for climbing in or out of that car. I tell you what, that was awfully rough, but that was a good time. Now, we're going to see what happens this weekend because we've got late models, sportsmen, Thunderstocks, the Hornets are back, and the spectacular pool jump. Now, 2 years ago, Harley Jankowski and I did this and ran straight into it, doing about 40 miles per hour.
I can still hear the scream.
Yeah, that hurt. That hurt. Yeah. Last year, it was Todd Cordish and I. We came out of the quarter-mile track and came back and looped it in the grass, and we jumped and got about halfway up, and we smashed some of the pool, and Todd says, we're going to go back running it again. Well, we got about halfway through the grass and the car died. Obviously, it was pretty much waterlogged. So no telling what's going to happen this Saturday night when we talk about the pool jump.
Who's driving?
I don't know. It's always a surprise, and it's always kind of shaky because there's some drivers I will never drive with in the past year out at that raceway. Hornets are back in action. Young Jake Bemis has been dominating this year. He has an 8-point lead over Kevin Turner, 15 over Kim Strom and Jeff Thompson, and 18 over Jeff Stumlin. I guarantee that championship will not be decided until Oktoberfest. As we're talking about points, Jay Herbst, 76 back. Right. Very, very a good margin to catch Steve Carlson.
Oh, very much.
Steve Bachman and Greg Scheck, 34 and 36 back, respectively. 5 drivers are all chasing down Adam Moore and the Thunderstocks, and then you've got 5 drivers that are in contention for the Hornets. Is this the point of the year after the halfway mark that drivers that say they don't look at the point standings really start paying attention to where they're at?
You know, I think some of them honestly are saying that they're not watching it, but I can guarantee you their crew members are, and reminding them when they're working in the shop, oh, we got to do this because we've got to leapfrog this person. When the when they post the lineups for each race, everybody is looking, okay, I am, this is where Steve Carlson is, and Jay Herbst is right here, or flip-flopped, okay, I'm starting the race 12 points ahead or gaining 12 points, I got to stay out there. Or you're saying I'm 12 points behind starting a race. For each one that I pass, I'm gaining 3 points or whatever the number of points are. So there is some truth to the fact that they might not be paying attention, but definitely the crew is reminding them.
Well, I've talked to Steve Carlson several times this year, and I think this out of maybe any year that I've been in lacrosse, I wasn't here when he got the national. Yeah, no,
you were
it was
here.
Just before I was here, maybe it was the year I was here when Steve got the track, state, and national championship. I've never heard him talk about having as good a car as he has done so far this year. I mean, he's not said anything wrong with it, and that's because he's got a fantastic crew helping him with that car. Of course, Johnny's Hobbies is sitting alongside of the 66. But then you look at Jay Herbst, who said he figured something out of the Milwaukee Mile. Look at his qualifying laps last week. That's the fastest he's ever qualified all season. When you are the fast-time qualifier, you get a quick 6 points. And all it takes is a couple of races for Jay to get 3 or 4 spots better than Steve Carlson. Those small points will start adding up. And then if you can put some distance between you and Steve, say during a feature race, 4 or 5 positions, that starts to add up. So that's going to be interesting to watch there. Sportsman as well. Steve Bachman started the year on fire. 3 fast-time qualifications right off the bat, and then he disappeared. Then you had the likes of Brian Hesselberg and Greg Scheck and Bill Martin really started to make some noise behind Jake Arneson. But Bachman, I think, has found that niche at the time of the year that he needs to do so to stay in contention. Now Greg Scheck's got some pressure put on him. Thunder Sox and Hornets, forget it. That thing's going down to Oktoberfest. I don't care what anybody says. When we come back, we got a lot of results coming up. Tundra Series race, ARCA, and some big news locally wise with the ARCA Series and Mississippi Thunder Speedway. That's all coming up next on 7 Rivers Racing.
Did you know that the Holman American Legion is open to the public? That's right. 7 days a week, you can enjoy the full-service bar while watching your favorite sports team or NASCAR driver. You don't need to be a member to enjoy the Holman American Legion's rotating lunch special every Tuesday for only $6. A banquet hall with seating up to 250 people is also available for weddings, birthdays, or any other special event. See you at the Holman American Legion, 419 First Avenue West in Holman.
Get ready for the Thunder! The Mississippi Thunder Speedway!
Your Friday night racing destination.
Racing starts at 7. Super stocks.
Modified.
600 mods.
Pure stocks.
Street stocks.
Levi.
It's racing excitement, dirt track style.
Tickets $12 for adults. $5 18 and under. $8 for students. Or our family pack.
$25 for 2 adults and 3 kids 18 and under.
Friday night racing starts at 7.
Bring on the Thunder!
Dirt track style at the Mississippi Thunder Speedway. Highway 35 just north of Fountain City.
May I take your order?
Be not defeated by indecision. Choose the path that leads to a better day. Choose the way of the meal.
Make it a meal with one of Cousin Sub's new pork subs, the Memphis Steak, or the Cubano for a limited time only.
The key to happiness is sharing.
No.
Cousin Subs. Better bread, better subs, better day.
We're back one more time. 7 Rivers Racing here in KQEG TV. I'm Dan Dyke along with LOC to the Mississippi Thunder Speedway. We go, and what a fantastic night of dirt track racing we had up there. First time in a long time that I've seen somebody pass somewhere where maybe just stand there, and I couldn't even think of any words to describe what was going on. And Dan Bailey had the same premonition of what was just happening. First off, the 5th annual Bayman B-Law Challenge. We had a lot of B-Mods up there. This was kind of a test and tune, as we have with the Tundra Super Late Models at Lacrosse a couple weeks ago. For a lot of drivers, like your winner, Corey Crapser, that this is a test and tune for a big race coming up September. 3 nights, $10,000 to win. That's kind of unheard of in some parts, unless you're in a super late model or a late model traveling series.
Exactly.
That's coming up in September, so we saw a lot of drivers in the B-Mods that came up and shook things down and got used to what that track is like. Corey Crapser was being, this was an interesting race. Sean Walski had this thing won. He's got about a quarter of a track lead. No one's being able to catch him. He's driving a fine line all the way around. Something breaks with 3 to go.
Yep.
$1,000 payday down the toilet, and Corey Kratzer in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, they're starting also to get to that middle part of the season where you end up with metal fatigue and part fatigue, and that is what happens. You really got to start inspecting your cars a lot closer on all the different parts, how they relate to each other, because you never know when that's going to take you out.
WISSOTA Superstocks 2012 defending track champ Tommy Richards, he got the win on Friday night. The USRA Modifieds had to have been the biggest pass I've ever seen in my career of doing what I do. Lucas shot. We had a restart, had a late race caution, came out. I think there was 3 to go. It was 2010 track champ Josh Angst, the feature winner from 2 weeks ago, Eric Pember, and cool hand Lucas shot. We're restarting the race coming out of turn 4. You had a Delaware double wide restart, so the leader is out front, and then it's 2x2 all the way back. So you had the leader out front have the guy in the second row catch him, and Lucas shot catch him from the third row. So we went 3 wide like that on a turn 4. And Lucas,
as they were starting to go to the start.
As they were starting to come out of 4 to hit the stripe. Green flag's already flying. Lucas shot went from the third row to a 3 wide restart by the time he hit that stripe, and he passed the group so fast, he had a 5-car length lead coming out of turn 2.
With that momentum.
It was just amazing. The apron was way up, so it wasn't really much what to do with the apron. Remember, he's running the outside rail. Not a lot of drivers, like lacrosse, don't like that outside rail.
Right.
He got the bite he needed. All 4 stayed in the ground. Then the 3 came up as 3-wheel came up as he hit the stripe. And it had been the most amazing pass I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, from what you, and you're not the only one who's talking about it. You just did the best job of describing it to me.
Right.
Matt, who's on our racing team, talked about it too.
He helps out Alex Williamson in a B-Mod.
Yes, and he was talking about how incredible that was as well.
It just blew you away. It was something you didn't expect. I mean, you had the 2010 track champ Josh Angst on the pole, so you're thinking, okay, 99 is probably going to get a win here. Pember had just won the week before, but he didn't do it in this kind of style, so you're thinking, okay, maybe Pember's going to challenge for second, and then cool hand Lucas Shot's going to take third, and that wasn't the case. He just blew everybody away and got a nice feature win right there.
And what this really does show you is that out there at the dirt track out in Fountain City, they got a lot of lines you can drive.
Oh,
you don't have just one line down low or one line in the middle. There's a lot of racing lanes.
Well, we went actually at one point on Friday night, went 5 wide in between turns 3 and 4. Very smart driving. Yep. Nobody touched. They did what they had to do to get in their positions, but it was just incredible racing. Doug Wojcik and Joe Provenzino, they won back-to-back feature wins in the WISSOTA Street Stocks and the 600 mods. On the short, also the Pure Stocks was won by Bobby Ford Jr., who's been coming on strong the past 3 weeks. And Buzz Pool, that's his name. It's the Outlaw Mini Mods. His name is Buzz Pool. Sounds like something out of a movie. Buzz Pool gets the Outlaw Mini Mod feature win, and AJ Hoff won the A Mini Mods. Devin Williamson won the B Mini Mods. We're off this Friday night, but August 2nd we come back, and you can check out more information at MississippiThunder.com. Hey, we got to send some kudos out. The Tundra Super Late Model Series was back out racing last weekend. They were on round 4 at Golden Stand Speedway. Paige Decker, who obviously we've gotten to know racing here during Oktoberfest with her 2 other sisters, did something that had never been done in the Tundra Super Late Model Series history. She not only was the first female to win a Tundra event, but the first rookie to win the event.
You know, we've seen her out at Oktoberfest, and she just is very, very professional in how she does things. She's always got her car set up, she keeps it under her, and she does a very good job of keeping her nose clean, and so it really does not surprise me that she pulled away a win.
Tundra Series next up, got a couple of weeks off. They will be racing in Marshfield, and their point championship is at Slinger on Sunday, September 8th. Hope I can get out and make that race. The ARCA Series Wayne Carter Classic at the Grundy County Speedway had a 100-lapper last weekend. A good race right here. 2012 ARCA Midwest Touring champ Jonathan Island, who you'll see at Oktoberfest, ended up winning the race. He put Chris Wimmer, Dan Fredrickson, Eddie Hoffman, and Rich Bickle behind him. That's an accomplishment when you put those 4 names behind you, number 1. Number 2, the big news that came out this week, is due to some unforeseen circumstances, the ARCA Midwest Tour Toma 100 at the Veterans Raceway Park in Toma was canceled. And to me, those type drivers in those type cars, I didn't know if they would fit in that type facility. Now, there's been work going on since late last year by Mike Englert and his entire crew to get that track to the point where they can host an ARCA Series race like that. I just think they ran out of time.
Yeah, they're going to, at some point, host an ARCA race, but at this point in time, they do have a lot of other things they got to do. Those corners are so tight, the walls come up at you so fast, and these cars have so much power that I just think it probably was good for both the racetrack and for the series to probably not cancel it so much as postpone it a year or so that everybody has every duck in a row. It will be a good show once they get things straightened out there.
Well, Series President Tim Olson said that they're going to look at this as a positive and not focus on the issues that delayed the possibility for the event. He says a short track racing has to survive and bring a track back from the dead is a major undertaking, which Toma has had to do. Something all race fans should be happy about. So they are looking at getting an ARCA Series event there in 2014 as the work will continue at Veterans Raceway Park. So, want to find out what's going on locally wise? We've got a lot of racing to go here. MississippiThunder.com, LacrosseSpeedway.com. Going to have a big night of racing coming up Saturday night. Their track is off Friday night. And VeteransRacewayPark.com. You can find out more information there as well. Al and I are going to go back to point watching, even though we really don't watch the points. We're going to set you up for another great show coming up next week as we're going to bring some dirt drivers on, both young and old. For Al Losey, I'm Dan Dyker. Thanks for joining us. Check us out on YouTube. Seven Rivers Racing. Also got a big day of racing coming up on my AM 580 WKTY Race Report from 1 to 2 on Saturday. Have a great week, folks. We'll see you, and keep supporting your local short tracks. We love it.